Welcome to two guys next to me, Reagan Murdoch and Kyle Phillips. Or if you want to change their name tags, they could be Kyle Phillips and Reagan Murdoch.
That's true.
But I think you guys know who they are. So for the next hour, we're going to talk a little voice acting, a little anime. And I guess I'll start it off with this for you two. And it was an interesting question we had yesterday. How do you prepare when you know you're going to be playing a villain versus how do you prepare when you're going to be playing a hero?
When I'm playing a hero, I think about, what the story is trying to say. What are the kind of the values that number one, that the author clearly wants to communicate to the audience, and what is something that I personally would like the audience to take away from it, and how I would like that to inspire them. And when I'm a villain, I just imagine myself doing things to people in traffic. So
yeah, I go pretty method. When I get to be a villain, I go out and kill someone. Just to really get into that mindset of being really bad.
So you're also Meisner.
Yeah.
So
no,
you both research the roles really well. You
Yeah.
just go in traffic. He just goes the next step. And there's bodies buried.
I get immunity. I just I'm like, it's for a role. And they're like, okay, gotcha. All right, that's fine. No, I mean, there's really not a whole lot of difference as far as prep. It's just like, what's the motivation? What's the context? What's the background? All right, let me get into the head of this character.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
Are there certain techniques when you are being a voice actor in working on your voice, and obviously you guys have done many different voices, but being able to read a script and go, okay, this is what I think, and then maybe having a director go, maybe like this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's a collaborative process. When it comes to One Piece or Chainsaw Man or what have you, there's obviously going to be different levels of information that you might have, and there might be different depths to which you have poured into it. But at the end of the day, when you're in that recording booth, you can prepare day and night, but what's ultimately going to matter is what you are able to do in the moment and how the director is going to react to that. But it is part of it is going to be the humility to know, well, this is ultimately the director has the higher vantage point and they're able to see the bigger picture more clearly, and so I just need to give them ultimately what they want, but also being able to give them your perspective is a very powerful thing, I think, and just give them what they are asking for, and then if you think you also know what they want, you can also give them that.
Yes.
There you go. That's the perfect answer for Kyle. Absolutely. And when you're on these roles, and I was looking at different stories of people who work in anime and who go to cons as well. You guys don't react. You guys don't know sometimes the other actors that are in the shows that you do, and the first time you meet them actually are at these cons.
Yep.
My favorite instance of this is contrary to popular belief, like Houston kind of was the first like really dub anime in the more modern era, and two of the more prolific actors that came out of Houston were Monica Rial and Brittany Karbowski, and they'd been in shows together, like as sisters, as whatever, for a decade, and they never met until they came up to Funimation in Dallas, and they happened to pass each other in the halls, and they were like, Brittany, Monica, oh my gosh, that was the first time they met. They had been in the same shows for 10 years. And they just met. But yes, also at cons, and so after the pandemic and cons came back, like it was like reunion after reunion. Like you'd interrupt people. I'm so sorry, I haven't seen this person in 2 years. I have to say hi. So yeah, it's very interesting. A lot of people think that it's like the prelay style, like on Disney movies and stuff, where you're all in a room together playing off each other. You do not get that luxury in anime.
And do you look at like different Disney films and go, hey, this is how they did things, and this is how anime does things, this is how I do things, and kind of look at like the past and use that in your different techniques?
Yeah, I always assume I would do it better than the Disney people.
Yeah, I always watch it and it's like, yeah, I would have said that this way, no, I would have said that way, and it's like just very, it's obviously, it's really gratifying to know that you're better than people in multi-million-dollar movies.
But not Hanna-Barbera, just Disney, right?
Oh no, Hanna-Barbera, Mel Blanc, man, he's like the literal best voice actor who's ever lived. Like that dude is insane.
Oh god.
You guys know who Mel Blanc is, right?
Bugs Bunny.
And times 100 other characters.
Yeah,
like
right.
Mel Blanc is a lot of our childhood. I guess if you're like 35 and up, he was your childhood. It's fine. All the young Gen Z people are like, "Who is this? Who's Mel Blanc?" It's fine.
And do you look at all the different voices you do, and obviously there might be still some voices in your head, but also you go, I think I did that like 5 years ago, but I don't remember.
Oh, luckily, are you talking about like reprising roles?
Exactly, yeah.
The engineers are like the unsung heroes of all of this.
Absolutely.
And so they will like put together what we call just like a vocal reference. And so if it's been a while, even if it's been like a few months, if you're like, hey, can I get a reference? And they'll boom, drop it down, play it for you, get back into it, remember how you sound, and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I talk to a lot of actors in regards to the audition process, and each has that kind of story that kind of made or broke them, and then they went, oh, wow, okay, that's how this business is. You guys have any stories to tell in that regard, in regards to auditions? Or the audition process?
No, just everybody's got their own. Everybody likes to do things a little bit differently. It's kind of like how in most things in life, it's best to listen to experts and people with more experience first, but then after you've laid that foundation to find what personally works for you. I don't know if you're like me, Kyle, but I find that when I feel really, really good about an audition I just did, I never get the role.
Oh, yeah.
But if I feel horrible, like
Yes.
why did I even bother? What's going on with that? That's when I get cast. That's how I got cast in Chainsaw Man.
It is weird that happens like that. 100%. You think, man, I nailed this, and then whoever gets cast, it's like, oh, I was way off the mark. But then you'll be like, oh, I guess I'll do this. That's how I got a character in Smite. Anyone play Smite? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
He's an Aries skin, and so when I was looking at the auditions, I was like, sure, I'll throw this one in, and it was like, I'm Aries. Like, it's this voice I never do, and I was like, that was fun, whatever, and that's what I got booked for. It's like, what? Like, I didn't even try in that audition.
Right.
But so yes, I 100% am with you.
Yeah, right. Like, so take that. Even if you think for sure that something's not going to work out, you might as well give it a try.
And I think what that is it's just indicative of like when you kind of mentally you're like, I don't have any real stake in this, or like, then you're more relaxed and you kind of naturally, instinctually, like kind of give it a more natural feel as opposed to like, let me hardcore focus on this.
Yeah, right. I just need to get every single detail right. I didn't get that inflection exactly the way I wanted to. Yeah, no, it doesn't work out.
A metaphorical story is any Nine Inch Nails fans in the house? Okay, a couple. So Trent Reznor wrote, it took him like I think a year to write Terrible Lie. And then the biggest hit off that first album, Pretty Hate Machine, was Head Like a Hole. And he wrote that on a napkin in like 5 minutes. Yep. So he was just like, here's an idea. And boom, it was like the huge hit. So, yeah. Not to say, like, don't try. Try if you're doing something creatively. But, like, sometimes you just need to relax and kind of just let your creative juices flow.
Now, Kyle, one thing I read about you is that you actually teach voice lessons. What do you partake and try to tell the people that are trying to use their voice as an instrument that really kind of hits home?
So kind of, you get that question a lot. How do I become a voice actor? I get why people want to be. Who here wants to be a voice actor? Let's go. Okay. Yeah. See, there you go. It's the technology to do it is cheaper and easier to use more than ever. It seems like the talent pools for these things are a lot bigger and more accepting now. It's just like, it's kind of the best and worst time to get into it because it seems like the newer you are, like the more accepting they are, but also you're one of thousands trying to get into it. So to set yourself from the pack, what I always teach is basically like, go be an actor. Don't be a voice actor. Be an actor. Yep. Take acting classes. Do improv. Get on stage. Do Shakespeare in the Park. Just do anything you can because if you want to get into voice acting, that's great. But if someone comes in and they're like, "Oh, I have a cool voice," like Cool. What's your acting background? Nothing really. Or in high school, I did something. It's like, all right, give us your demo, I guess. And it's because it's so much harder to teach someone how to act as opposed to teaching someone who knows how to act the technical side of things. So if you want to really be a step above the rest, if you come in with a demo and a resume that's like, look at me, I'm an actor, you're automatically going to get a stronger look than someone who just is like, listen to my Goku impression. It's like, okay, cool. So that's kind of my biggest piece of advice is get into acting. You can make voice acting a piece of your overall acting pie.
Do you have a student that came to you that was really shy to begin with, that just wasn't really sure, and then something clicked, and boom, there you go?
Yes, it happens all the time.
Any questions out to the audience? Go ahead.
How do you guys see the future of anime? Do you guys think it's going to be more on streaming versus being on network TV like Toonami?
It's a good question, one which I do not have the really the capacity, I feel, to answer adequately. But my instinct is that things are moving, more in an online and easy to access direction, and I think that's probably going to continue. So I would imagine it's probably going to stay at least on an online.
I disagree wholly.
Oh, really? Okay, go ahead.
I think we are exiting the golden age of anime. And I don't want to be pessimistic, but if you notice, the shows that come out each season, it's sequels, remakes, reimaginings, sequels, more sequels. And I think people are getting a little jaded with it. And so the silver lining of that is people will come up to my table and they're like, I just watched Ultimate Otaku Teacher. I just watched, Infinite Dendrogram. Like these shows that were long ago would maybe hit people's watch lists, but they were too, I'll watch that after I watch the new Attack on Titan season. I'll watch that after the new My Hero season. So now that it's like, what's coming out this season? I jumped into a puddle of slime and now I've exited the refrigerator. It's like, oh my God, more isekais. Okay, great. So I think in general, the anime will always, I think, now has shoehorned itself into popular medium, and will always have a place, especially with a show like Dragon Ball Z. It's like, it's just so generational. But I think it being this wildly popular medium, I think it's going to really scale down, and I think the physical media ownership is going to be where anime is going to end up living, because like with companies like Ubisoft who are like, oh, you think you own your game digitally?
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
You paid $60, but you're going to have it for a few years, and then we're taking it away. I think that's really kind of scared people who want to own their medium, their media. So I think anime is going to kind of return back to physical ownership. And I know this because I started at Funimation in 2008, and during the 2008 recession and beyond, physical ownership of movies and stuff plummeted. Anime went up. It was the only one that went up. And just because anime fans seem to be collectors. So I think you'll always be able to get your anime. You'll just have to buy seasons, especially with like services like Crunchyroll, where it'll be there for a few years and then it'll go away. And it's like, well, how do I watch that show? It was on my watch list and now it's gone. You got to buy it. So go find your nearest movie trading company and go buy some anime.
Physical media is a very good investment just overall. So.
And I mean, it's almost like the Disney model where they would release, the movie and then it would go away for a while and then it would come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you guys did anime, did you know a lot about anime, and did you research the history and maybe talk to someone in Japan specifically about the medium, or did you just say, okay, here's my job, here we go, boom?
I got into anime at around the age of 13, about the ripest age you can. This tiny little obscure show called Naruto. But it was after that I kind of that kind of opened the door into being more interested in Japanese culture as a whole and just kind of world cultures in general. But I didn't really talk to anybody from Japan about it, but tried to do my research as the history of the industry, where it might be going, all that jazz. So I wanted to do my due diligence, but also I think I went several steps further than that because I am a nerd. So.
Nah, I didn't do any of that research. I watched when I was a kid. Toonami was every day after school, Monday through Friday. So I got a healthy dose of Cowboy Bebop, Gundam Wing, all that Outlaw Star. But then that was about as far as I went, as far as like being into it. I started at Funimation as an audio engineer, and that kind of rekindled my love of acting, kind of being around an actor and a director all day. Yeah. And so then I got back into it, but never really. I mean, we don't really contact the Japanese. Sometimes they'll have some oversight as far as like casting, but really it's just like, here's our cast, and they're like, cool. Like every once in a while they'll be like, we don't think the voice is right. Will you switch it out? But yeah, otherwise, like I said, it's just doing the best job as an actor, getting to that character's head, and just doing the best job that you can. You're not necessarily thinking, how did the Japanese actor do it, or unless it's like a super like Edo period show where it's like it being Japanese is very important. Otherwise, it's kind of for a lot of anime, the only thing Japanese about it is those Japanese voices. So when you replace that with English voices, it's just a cool show. It does, So you kind of try to pay homage when you can, but a lot of times it's like, what's the best decision to make for this character for the show?
Yeah, like we were saying, there's a lot of different actors who have different levels of how much research they want to do into it, but it all comes back to, are you an actor? Are you interested in portraying a character? It doesn't matter if it's an anime or whatever, because you're going to have to approach it in almost the exact same way. So.
And do you think those of you who have actually been on stage and been in theater and know how to project your voice, that's a certain technique to know and be important for anyone who wants to be a voice actor?
Diaphragm exercises. Work on your diaphragm. That's where it all comes from. If you try to yell and do anime battle stuff from your throat, you're going to shred your vocal cords. But if you do it from your diaphragm, you will save your voice.
Yes. I have several years in opera training. This is your engine in your face, your bones, your nasal cavity, like your front teeth even. That's where what you want to be ringing like a gong. So straight from here to here. That's what I would say.
And that's interesting. You talk about opera training, because that's a different musical genre.
Just slightly.
A little bit, yes. And like, how did you get into that? How did you decide? How did that become your engine to be a voice actor?
Well, I knew I wanted to be a voice actor. Actually, I went to University of Texas to study acting because I wanted to go back home to Dallas to do anime. However, when I was doing it, I decided I wanted to take some voice lessons. So the music school paired me up with one of their professors, a very large, extremely Russian man, probably the most Russian man I've ever met. And he basically convinced me that not only was it a worthwhile investment, that it was something that I would probably be successful at. So he basically convinced me to add music as a second major, and I just fell in love with the genre of opera as well. And so it's just kind of another tool in the box, and certainly, while it would certainly be something that I would need to commit to full time in order to make a lot out of it, it's something that I'm very, very glad that I did, because it taught me a lot about, not only how to use my instrument, but, how to approach things, maybe in foreign languages sometimes, and all the rest of it. It's being well versed in many different types of performance is always going to be best if acting is what you want to do, whether it be in anime or whatever. Just getting into it and actually doing it is always the most important part.
Any questions out there in the audience? Go ahead.
Of course.
Yep.
Which anime would it be?
Oh man. Go ahead.
have you ever seen Monster? You need to see Monster. It is my all-time favorite anime. I will just say, but a very grounded psychological thriller set in Germany in the 1990s. The villain may or may not be the Antichrist. And I'll just let you discover. So.
I have two answers because my public answer of my favorite anime is Cowboy Bebop. Steve Bloom's a legend, so I'd hate to replace him, but if I could be Spike Spiegel, like that'd be awesome. But then my secret answer is my favorite actual anime is Golden Boy. Anyone know Golden Boy? Oh. Shame on all of you. But to be Kentaro Oe and Golden Boy would be awesome.
Are there some voices that you actually really enjoy doing day in, day out?
Well, the thing is, there's only so many voices that you will do day in and day out because, every season you're doing, different shows and, sometimes you are doing a character that you absolutely love, but you only get to do him for a couple of months and then never again. Yeah. And that is always fun. It's so great. But yeah, it's different levels of, and you enjoy them for different reasons. Maybe it's because they're a fascinating character. Sometimes it's just because it allows you to just cut loose and just go all over the place. And sometimes just because you just relate a little bit too heavily to them and letting it go is difficult.
Yeah, it's not. I think this will be the third time we've said it, but like it goes back to you as an actor. I think more often than not, you get cast in your natural voice, and it's just. They want your voice, but if it's like a villain, they'll want your voice a little sadistic. You want your voice if it's like a hero, a little broader or whatever. So you're not necessarily doing a lot of like changing your voice. It's all attitude and tone and all that. Yes. So kind of my favorite voices are all of them because it's like just basically my voice. Like Denki in My Hero, he's just a little bit higher, just a little bit, but it's basically just my voice. Marco is just a little bit lower. But I think my favorite voice I've ever done, and I feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, Reagan, but some of my favorite characters I've ever done are the shows that no one watched.
Yes.
So I was the main villain in a show called Space Battleship Tiramisu. Ooh. His name is Isuzu Ichinose, and he's a silly boy. And that show is so funny. It's very rated R, but you should go check it out. And we had a blast. It was 2 seasons. No one watched it, and we'll never work on it again. So
I have one of those too. It was a comedy called "Don't Hurt Me, My Healer." It was a show about basically the character that I play his name is Alvin, and he is this completely feckless, talentless. Basically, it's like an RPG, and he's supposed to be like a warrior, like a knight, but he just cannot like do anything right. He's completely incapable, and he's also this incredibly like sarcastic, like really. Sardonic, just he's me in traffic is what I'm gonna say.
Wait, this is the second time you've mentioned you in traffic.
I hate traffic. I hate traffic. And the opposite character to me, Bryn April, she plays this dark elf named Carla, and she wants to be a healer, but she very clearly the kind of magic that she does is not healing magic, and she is also terrible at picking up social cues, and so she doesn't know that the things that she's saying to him are like these horrible insults, and of course so the banter back and forth between them was just absurdly fun, but of course nobody watched it, so we're never going to get a season 2. But the fact that that show happened at all is just very, very glad about it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to be talking to voices for the next half hour. Reagan, you're going to be up back on the second floor. We're going to keep Kyle here if he wants to stay.
Are you holding me against my will?
Absolutely. But if you
Run.
And he also made the chair wet for the next guest. Even better. And by the way, if you want to talk about traffic, Reagan will, give you that, thoughts.
I like
as
that
well.
you committed to the bit. That was great.
Absolutely.
Acting.
Let's see.
So
So guys, go check out Reagan at his table. He's awesome.
So we will have a couple more actors here in a second.
Well, here, since we're transitioning, any last One Piece specific questions before Reagan goes? Yes. Oh, gosh. Oh, we are. Easily.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Yeah.
Actually, so I stream on Twitch. The ending, whenever I close out a stream, I do a end credits song, and it's me singing "We Are."
Hey.
Got to check it out.
Check out his stream at twitch.tv/
Kyle Phillips Fun. That's right. Thanks, Reagan.
Yeah, for sure.
What has been your favorite moment voice acting
Oh man.
or just some of the highlights?
Young Marco. So I think it's during Wano. We do a flashback and see Whitebeard and his crew interacting with Gold Roger and his crew. No spoilers, because it happened forever ago. But yeah, we get to see young Marco. And so as I was doing young Marco, I was like, this is kind of basically just my Denki voice. And they're like, that's exactly what we need, because young Marco is very goofy instead of like the adult Marco, who's not like serious, but he's, a middle-aged man. So getting to do young Marco was a lot of fun. Any other questions? Way in the back.
How do you feel about the translation from Bobtail to Bobtail?
No comment. I feel nothing.
Okay, and the live action monkeys, if they get to Marco, who would you choose to play?
I feel like I've been asked this before, and I've thought about it, and I haven't come up with anything. Man, that's a good... I feel like Brad Pitt. He's like a good-looking dude. He's got blonde hair. They just have to shave it into a pineapple. But like Brad Pitt's got that chill energy, but like, if you ever saw Troy, like he can bring the beefcake. So I feel like Brad Pitt would be a good one. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, so now we're transitioning. We're no longer talking about One Piece. Get it out of your brain. We're now only talking about My Hero Macadamia Nut. Any My Hero questions? I guess only Denki questions before the other.